Morning, everyone on YouTube. I hope you're having a beautiful morning. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I am going to share with you in detail 2 junk journals. And someone requested that I share a little bit more on junk journals, and I have so much to do in way of these junk journals for creativity that I do want to share with you because as you know, I am focusing on projects and things that you can make that are sustainable, that fall in the sustainable category because I think it is so important. It is so important. Um, we have landfills filled with tons of millions of fabrics like this, that are not biodegradable. Now, if they were biodegradable, you could think, okay, it's a little bit more workable. They're going to meld into the earth. Maybe there's more we can do, but they don't. And if you burn them, there's toxics that come out of them. So there's a whole lot of obstacles to keeping our earth really healthy. So, but I want to share with you that just really quickly that journaling is synonymous with the word diary. And according to Wikipedia, um, log keeping or making notes or keeping diaries, it goes as far back as the ancient times in Egypt. They kept log books, which doesn't surprise me because the Egyptians have done so many phenomenal things in that we find out the ancient Egyptians. It just blows my mind. However, as time went on, right, people started to travel, and as they're traveling, you can see them with their diary, and then they put a little keepsake in the diary. They went to the theater and they want to keep that ticket. They stick it in their diary, thus junk journaling. That's where this comes from, I think. Kind of putting 2 and 2 together. But as you make your own journals, right, you make them reflect who you are, your personality. If you're making and selling them, you're making them for other people. Think outside of the box. Think of all of the things that you can use that are fall in that category of recycling. Because I have to tell you, with very much respect to the other YouTubers, and they do beautiful, phenomenal work. And but they're ordering, kits. They're ordering kits and certain things, and some of them might be ordering certain buttons or beads, and you can certainly do that. That's not a bad thing. However, if you're going to stay within focusing on recycling, you can get those same things right at the thrift shop, so you can extend the life of those things that might otherwise, because when the thrift shops don't sell them, where do you think they go? If they can't sell that stuff, it goes into the landfill, and it does. They try to give some stuff away that's not selling, but a lot of people may not pick them up. So, anyway, with all of that said, I like to work with fabric, as you know, as I am getting quite a line of sustainable items, you might say, from sashiko stitching to I'm converting my yarn. I have lots of acrylic yarn. I got a lot of it from the thrift shop, but I am now going to be focusing when I buy yarn on eco-friendly yarn. So recycled yarns and things like that. So the yarns will fall into the category of sustainability too. However, with my fabrics, I do sashiko stitching, I create boro hats, I create the boro sashiko bags, and I've done scarves. So, and this jean jacket, I want to adorn this with more visible stitching. So with that said, I'm going to talk to you as we go through this journal. So the front part of the journal, everything in this journal, by the way, is from either a thrift shop or a brown paper bag. So right here, this underneath this cover that's covered with denim, and then with another patch of visible stitching, and then with some lace, and this is cut out butterflies from a recycled card, and then this is a little ribbon. But underneath the denim is cardboard, and it's probably a cereal box or something. I'm saving cereal boxes. I'm saving granola bar boxes, envelopes, and even these. I'm saving um, little, see, it's a little Cliff Bar wrapper. I'm saving that. And I'm making uh, things as I go along. This is a little tag, and that's fabric, and a page from a book, and a piece of cardboard. And this is recycled. And then on the other side is some magazine items, and then I painted it a little bit. So there's a lot of different ways you can design your pieces. Now, and then, design them and then just stick them in a box, because unless you're going for a specific theme. So anyway, this, you see the butterfly right on the front of the cover. And here I wanted the message to be very positive. So this is Just Be You. And I did some stamping. I cut pieces of the butterfly out from fabric. I had some sheet music I got at the thrift shop also. And then I glued them on, and then I put a ribbon on the inside also. It looks really adorable. Um, this is just a another piece of scrap. I think this was a plastic bag. You can get bunches of bags, gift bags, and they're either plastic like this, or they're paper, or they're printed, or they're holiday themed. You can get them at the thrift shop. They're selling for 25 cents each, or a bunch of them for $1, depending on the thrift shop you go in, right? You can get some beautiful. But with this one, I put a piece of tea-stained paper in there. So again, at the thrift shop, you can get a journal. You can get a notebook like this. This is from the thrift shop for 25 cents. You can use the papers in there to stain. Use a bag of tea. And instead of um, putting the entire piece of paper in the tea, just have a paintbrush and a cup, and just, have some papers in front of you. Just get some tea on them and blot them with a towel, and then have them dry. Because I was using a pan, filling it up with water, putting the papers in, and doing a whole thing. You don't need to do all that, especially if you have small space. So anyway, that's tea-stained paper in there. And this, I stamped a piece of fabric, and again, thrift shop, with the word dream. The stamps and the ink, all those stamps, I have hundreds of stamps, and I got them all at the thrift shop over a number of years. I got them at the thrift shop. And sometimes when I bought the stamps, I would buy a bag of maybe like 10 stamps for $2. So that's how I got the stamps. And then this, I just glued a piece of a ribbon, again, thrift shop ribbon on there. And here is that was already on the paper, and I just used the scissors to cut it to give it the pretty edges. And that is saying thoughtful. So, as you're going through the junk journal, these words jump out at you, and maybe you're reflecting on who you are, or maybe you want to make a journal that where others can meditate or reflect. And when they see that word thoughtful, there's maybe what will come to their mind is, am I a thoughtful person? Was I thoughtful in this situation? And stuff like that. And it captures that. And if it's something they have to work on, let's say they have to work on it, maybe a neighbor is very annoying to this person. So they write down here neighbor, and then they can come back to their journal and put a plus or minus, depending if they're thoughtful to their neighbor. It's just an example. Anyway, now this next is a little trinket I put in there. I made from a popsicle stick, and I cut the hearts out from a card, and then I tied a ribbon on it, and I put it in the little pocket that I made there. So this is like a bookmark. It could be a bookmark. Okay, so there's that page. And you notice the pages are all different sizes. And I admire so much the instructors out there who cut everything perfectly. And I have tried that. And I have done that. I have journals over here that I sold at the craft fair that are all cut the same size. And you can certainly do that. However, I think it's aesthetically just beautiful to have all these different, I just think it's so authentic looking, right? So that's why I don't, and I think it's wasteful if I take, like I'm going through this bin. I'll show you one of my small bins. I'm going through this bin, and everything's different sizes, and I'm going to cut them all down to the same size and throw away all this paper. So I try to just fold them and keep them the same, keep them the size that they're at. And then that adds to the aesthetics, the authenticity of it. You're using it, so you're reducing waste and you're making a pocket. So I just put that piece of paper in there. Again, this is a piece of thrift shop paper that I tea dyed. That's cranberry tea. So here's more plastic, and that's on a paper bag. And this is another bookmark I made with the flowers. I tied it with twine. I used my variegated scissors, which are, I don't know if that's the right name, but the zigzag scissors anyway. And this is tea stained paper, but to give it the pretty edges, I cut it with those scissors. Those scissors are not expensive at all, a couple of dollars. So, and this is a piece of fabric again. And I just slip it into the little corner page there that I made. And I made that just simply by gluing the edges of it to the edges of this page, right? But I put that in there because that's a beautiful little, whatever you want it to be, a bookmark, or you can turn it around and write on it because I glued it onto paper. Okay, so here's an envelope, tea stain that I used again. The coffee stains didn't pick up really well, and I found out from listening to YouTube that coffee stains grab the stain when they're sitting in the sun. So that's a little tip there too. This is another tea stained piece of paper, and I'm trying to incorporate pieces of paper and pages where the person who is using the journal can capture a thought, because maybe they're using this journal when they're traveling, let's say, or studying birds or something. So here's some more blank pages. And this particular journal, maybe they're studying butterflies or dragonflies, because this is more of a butterfly themed. There's another butterfly, and that says enlightened. And these teeny tiny little um, clips there I got at the thrift shop. You can get bags of stuff like that. This is fabric again. And whoops, it's not letting me turn. Oh, what I did here, look, I almost forgot what I did. What I did, I made it one of those hiding pages. So you can write on there. Oh, but it's for the next one. So you can write on there and then cover it. So there's a lot of different ideas you can do to keep your journal interesting. This envelope, I just put a decorated with a couple of music. Sometimes less is more in decor, and you notice it. Sometimes you get this vintage look or just this humbling kind of a decor. And so you just kind of want to stop there. You don't need to even decorate it anymore. So this has a little card in it that you can write on, and then you can tuck it back in and capture your thoughts that way. This again is more space, and I put dream big. Again, that's my stamp. This is my stamp. Again, more blank pages there. This is just decor with the little twine. You know, just kind of aesthetically building it up is sometimes just what you want. You don't have, in other words, it doesn't have to necessarily be functional. It's beautiful if it's practical and functional, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It just has to evoke a feeling, a good feeling. So this is a little pocket I made, and I stamped it with the little frogs. And again, this is just a little piece of paper I folded, and where they could write on the inside. And this says love. Again, my stamp, my tiny little stamps I got from the thrift shop. And then there's some blank pages here and another blank page there, and then more butterflies. So that's that journal. And I love, love this journal. So that's one. And then I used this bow. Now look, that bow is just two pieces of fabric tied. And I put bow on loose because I anticipated, and this is exactly what happened. When I was at the craft fair, I anticipated people are going to want to see the inside. And that is exactly what happened. As a matter of fact, a few of these, this one, I ended up taking the bow off and leaving it off. And I'll share this one with you in the next video. But we'll go through the next journal in this video because it's small. It's on, it's kind of an owly theme, but these ribbons are all thrift shop. And the thing about these ribbons, I can tell you why they were at the thrift shop, is because they have, which I took out, they have a piece of wire in them. So when you cut them, this wire's sticking out. If you fold that wire, which you could fold it or roll it, guess what? You still have the end of it that's sharp. And it can also break. So guess what? I take it out. I cut my ribbon to the length I want, and I pull that wire out because the substance of this fabric is plenty to give the bow shape. So if you really want to play around with the shape, you can use an adhesive, right? A fabric adhesive. So I take the wires out, and you will find these all the time. I have tons of ribbons right now because of that. So anyway, here again is my Boro Sashiko, and that's an owl. And this is a separate little rose that I got in a little bag, and so I glued that on. And the same with the metal, says here and now. So this is that piece of metal is saying here and now. So it's giving the idea of be in the now. So again, this is cardboard underneath here. It's denim material. And then I put my sashiko fabric on top of that. Okay, so this I painted a little bit. That's a piece of recycled card. And here you have a picture of an owl. And this is from a magazine. And I put the piece of paper from a book, and it was F. Scott Fitzgerald book. So always double check your print. Make sure there's no words in there that, might not be appropriate. So and here is just some regular paper. I folded it, and I did the same here. This one, I have a lot of nice little blank pages. And there's an owl again. And you probably recognize that piece of fabric. I used it in my other journal. This is for someone who loves owls. Now, this is one of those hideaway pages that came from the owl fabric. And there's more blank, just a couple of different size shapes there. There's an owl again. And this says, I'm sorry, One Touch of Nature. It's just a nice little bookmark. And I was just focusing on owls and the love of owls. And this actually is one of my pen and inks that I did, oh my God, over 30 years ago. I did a bunch of Vermont pen and inks of Vermont birds. And I replicated prints of them over the years, so I still have them. So I cut that, and I kind of just, and this is a stamp. And so I just wanted to add that to this because I love owls too. And then this is an area to write again. Because it's journaling or keeping little notes, I think it's super important to have these areas to write in. And you're not writing a book like, you're buying a paper notebook, but you're capturing the words. You're capturing, maybe you write books. Maybe you're a poet and you want to capture those sentences when they pop in your mind. So these are, or an artist, and you want to capture that drawing or that idea. So a lot of these are blank. You can see this again is the fabric. This is the same fabric you saw a minute ago because I folded this, and I'm binding it. I'm doing a super duper simple binding right in the middle. I'll show you this one in a minute. Well, you can see even there, the stitches. I just sewed them together. And I'll show you that in a second. This is another little thing, just maybe a bookmark or a little sign. I just glued a piece of cardboard on, and I did the edging in ink there to give it a little bit of an old-fashioned look. And then these are newer papers here, just to write on, and a paper bag to write on. And that's that. That's that journal. Now, the way I did them, each of them, is, if I can find for you, I covered it, but this is the center. I probably covered it in the other one too. Let me see. I covered it because I didn't like the stitches, but I sewed them right down the middle. I did the same here. Sorry about that. But back here, you can kind of see some stitches. So what I did was I just, I very carefully, I used a needle like this, very large needle. This is a darning needle, but it's very large. And I didn't just take it and jab all the way through these papers. I did it. I poked one, I poked the second, and the third. I did it really one by one, and it worked beautifully. It flowed beautifully. If you try to jab it all down and you're putting pressure on all of your pages, it's not going to work. And but that's how I did it. And then I just sewed those through those two holes and tied it. And I covered it because I didn't like it showing. Now in these, I didn't cover them. Here's the binding, if you can see it, and it's tied. And inside, because all these are blank pages, but this is how I did these journals, the same way. But I'm very careful when I'm putting the thread through the holes too. So that's one area. There's special YouTubers out there. They're specialists at binding, so they can show you how to do that. But anyway, I hope that gives you some ideas, and I have many more to come because I have a lot of themes and a lot of different ways that you can add to your junk journals. But this is a really good start. And yes, I did put the feather. I almost forgot to talk about the feather. Again, I got those at the thrift shop. So I added it because this is on owls. So you can use, feathers, buttons, beads in creative ways and make your journal really super interesting. So I hope that inspires you and gives you some ideas. If there's something specific you're looking for, let me know. The next video I'm doing is I'm going to show you how to make the journal with all fabric, and then taking your pieces of paper, your recycled paper, and putting it in the pockets of the fabric. And that's a beautiful journal. That is Borel Sashiko journal. So that's coming up in my next video. And thank you so much for joining me today, and have a beautiful day.